Okay, good morning, everybody. I hope everybody's doing well. Um, I am going to cover some applications of logarithmic functions today. But before we do that, I hope you guys had a good um, break. I know it probably feels like we've been on an extended break, but at least you had a little bit of a break from some schoolwork, so that's good. Weather should be getting nicer too, which is great. It's nice to get outside a little bit and burn some energy off. So, all right, let's get started. So today we're going to talk a little bit about some application of logarithmic functions. Logarithmic functions are used a lot in science. A couple examples where logarithms are used. Some of you may have taken or in the process of taking chemistry. The pH scale is a logarithmic scale. Another place is the Richter scale. The Richter scale is used to measure the intensity of an earthquake. That is a logarithmic scale. And what I mean by a logarithmic scale is, for instance, if you had a 6 on the Richter scale and then you had a 7 on the Richter scale, they only sound like they're one apart, so they're not that much different. However, a 6 to a 7 is 10 times greater. Now, when you go from a 7 to an 8, that is also 10 times greater. So when you would actually go from a 6 to an 8 on the Richter scale, that would be 10 times 10, which would be 100 times greater. So when you start talking about earthquakes that are in the 7 and 8 range, you realize how much bigger they are than ones that are in like 4s or 5s. They can be on orders of, 100, 1,000, or even 10,000 times more powerful. So all right, so let's get at this problem. Students participating in a psychology experiment attended several lectures on a subject and then took an exam. Every month for a year after the exam, the students took retests to see how much of the material they remembered. The average scores for the group are given by the human memory model f of t equals 75 minus 6 natural log of the quantity t plus 1, where t is from 0 to 12, and t represents the time in months. So they want us to do three things in this problem. The first thing they want us to do is to determine what the average score was on the original exam right after the students attended the lectures. And so that would be after time is equal to 0 because no time has passed. Then they would like us to find the average score at the end of 2 months, and then they would like us to find the average score at the end of 6 months. So this is actually fairly simple. If you're realizing that, they're literally asking you to substitute t equals 0, 2, and then 6 into this equation that they gave us at the end of the problem. So let's get started. Starting with substituting 0 in, 0 plus 1 is 1. And so we have 75 minus 6 natural log of 1. This is one of our properties. Anytime you log or natural log a 1, that actually turns into 0. So 6 times 0 is 0, and you're just left with 75. So initially, when the students took the exam, they scored a 75 on that. Now, moving on to after 2 months, we're going to substitute 2 in, and we have 75 minus 6 natural log of 2 plus 1. Now 2 plus 1 becomes 3. And from there, even though on this slide I figured out what natural log of 3 was first, I would not do that. What I would do is do 75 minus 6 natural log of 3. Just type the whole thing in and hit enter. That way you're not going to run into a round off error at all, and you get 68.4. The last one, part C, asks us to determine after 6 months what the average score was. And looking at this, we have 75 minus 6 times natural log of 6 plus 1, which turns into 7. And same thing here. We can just hit second enter, which brings up our previous entry, and change that 3 to a 7. And you can see that it dropped down to a 63.3 on that exam after 6 months. Okay, that is it for lecture today. It's a nice short one. So I hope you guys are doing great. I will post the solutions to this work in another 2 days. I am also going to be posting a WebAssign soon, and those will count like they always have as quiz points. And you'll be seeing that pop up on your Google Classroom as well as your assignments in WebAssign um, and on the 21st. So you have one more day of working on some practice problems, and then we're going to have you complete a WebAssign. And then that'll conclude Chapter 5, Section 2. All right. Have a good day.